morning, students. Till now we have discussed three features of democracy, and today we'll discuss the fourth one, that is also the last feature. So let us start with today's class. So the country about which we have to study today is Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe attained its independence from white minority rule in 1980. Here, white minority rule refers to the Britishers. The freedom struggle was led by the party known as Zimbabwe African National Union Patriotic Front, and its leader, Robert Mugabe, has been ruling this country since independence. Now students, here are a few extra information for you all. Mugabe ruled from 1987 to 2017 and he died in 2019. But here we'll be talking about the time when he was ruling in Zimbabwe. Mugabe was very popular amongst the citizens. Why? Because he brought independence and an end to white minority rule. But he also used unfair practices to win elections, and that was not right. So now let us have a look at the different unfair practices that Mugabe used to win elections. The first one is, over the years his government has changed the constitution several times. Why? To increase the powers of the president and make him less accountable. Students, in our country, the ministers are accountable. They are answerable to the people, to the citizens. But there it wasn't so. And this is not correct. Number 2, opposition party workers are harassed and their meetings were disrupted. So this is also not correct, students. The opposition party members there were not allowed to hold meetings. Number 3, public protests and demonstrations against the government are declared illegal. Students, we have the right to hold demonstrations or to have public protests. Of course, that has few limitations, but then we are allowed to do it. There, it was declared as illegal. Number 4, there is also a law that limits the right to criticize the president. Also, the citizens there did not have the freedom of speech and expression. They don't have the right to criticize the president. Next, the government also controls television and radio, that is the media. And if any independent newspaper journalist goes against them, then they also harass them. And the last one, the government has also ignored some court judgments that went against it and has pressurized judges. Students, we have independent judiciary. We cannot go against court's verdict. But there, the government ignores court judgments and also pressurize the judges if they don't find the court's verdict in their favor. So students, this was all about Zimbabwe that we had to study. Now, what does this example show? It shows that popular approval of the rulers is necessary in a democracy, but it is not sufficient. Popular governments can be undemocratic and popular leaders can be autocratic. Let us understand the meaning of the first two statements that is given on the slide. These two statements are taken from your NCERT textbook and are very important. So students, let us understand the meaning of this. Here, popular approval means that majority of people must approve for that person to be a leader. Of course, if majority of people in a country approve a person to be the leader, then only that person should become the leader. But then it is not the only thing that is required for a government to be democratic. It is equally important that there is somebody to check the working of the government so that the government doesn't become misusing or autocratic in its actions. Students, autocratic means a ruler who has absolute power and one who doesn't take account of people's wishes or opinions. We can say someone with a behavior of a dictator. So coming back to the previous statement, students, remember, there are two aspects in a democracy that decides if it is working successfully or not. Number one is what the people feel about the leader with respect to fulfillment of their expectation or not. That is popular approval. And the second one, whether there are checks and balance in the system for it to work in the interest of the people, preventing any misuse of power by the leader. Students, basically, this statement means that in a democracy there are two important aspects. Number one is popular approval. That means the ruler should be formed by the majority of the people. And number two, just because the ruler is formed by the majority of the people doesn't mean that it will be democratic. There must be somebody to check whether that person is working properly or not. Check and balance system is also very important so that the ruler doesn't become misusing or autocratic. Now coming to the third and fourth statement that is given on this slide. So the third statement says it is important to look at the elections, but it is equally important to look before and after the elections. Students, we have studied that free and fair elections are an important feature of democracy. So if we wish to assess democracy, it is very important to make sure that the elections are held properly. The elections are free and fair. But then don't forget that it is also important to check the work of the government before and after the elections. Let us consider the example of Zimbabwe once again. There, opposition party workers were harassed and their meetings were disrupted before elections as there was nobody to check Mugabe's government. This we already discussed, that there should be somebody to check the government. Check and balance was not there. And also, once Mugabe's government was formed, that is after the elections, he made various laws that curbed the rights of the citizens. So people had no freedom of expression. Also media was controlled by the government. So this was not correct. Now, so we can say that in a democratic government, the government must respect citizens' rights. And these rights must be protected by whom? By an independent judiciary whose orders are obeyed by everybody. But then this was not there in Zimbabwe, as there Mugabe's government used to ignore the court judgments that went against it and also pressurized the judges. So now I hope that the meaning of all these statements are clear to you all. Popular approval is important in a democracy, but also somebody must be there to check the powers of the government, to check the working of the government. Then elections, free and fair elections are important, but it is equally important to look before and after the elections. And the last one, there should be independent judiciary whose orders are obeyed by everyone. So these few things we got to know by studying the example of Zimbabwe. Now students, there are few conditions given in your book according to which the government should run after the elections. So let's have a look at it. Number one is, a democratic government cannot do whatever it likes simply because it has won an election. It has to respect some basic rules. As I told you all, that the leader cannot do anything according to his own or her own wish just because that leader has been elected by the majority. The leader must work according to the rules and must respect the rules. Next, It has to respect some guarantees to the minorities. Now, because the leader has been elected by the majority, that doesn't mean that that person will be only concerned about the interests of the majority. The leader should also respect the guarantees that is given to the minorities. Next, every major decision has to go through a series of consultation. So there are people who need to be consulted before taking any major decision, and that leader must do. Next, every office bearer has certain rights and responsibilities assigned by the Constitution and the law, and each of these is accountable not only to the people but also to the independent officials. Now students, the office bearers, the people who are working in different institutions, they are assigned their tasks, they are assigned with their duties and responsibilities according to the Constitution and the law. So they must work according to that, and each of them, they are accountable to the people, not only to the people, students, not only to us, but then they are accountable to the independent officials also. Amongst themselves also, they are accountable to each other. So with this, we get the fourth and the last feature, the final feature of democracy, that is, a democratic government rules within limits set by constitutional law and citizens' rights. That means a democratic government should not be autocratic and must respect citizens' rights, and should also work within the limits set by Constitution. Now students, let us just sum up all that we have studied till now. We started with a very simple definition of democracy, that is, it is a form of government in which the rulers are elected by the people. But then we found that this definition is not adequate, and we also tried to understand the meaning of few keywords used in this definition. And through a series of examples, we got 4 features of democracy as a form of government. So now, accordingly, we can say that democracy is a form of government in which the rulers elected by the people take all the major decisions. This was the first feature that we studied. Number 2, elections offer a choice and fair opportunity to the people to change the current rulers. Second feature. And number 3, this choice and opportunity is available to all the people on an equal basis. Remember, one person, one vote and one value. And the last one that we studied today, the exercise of this choice leads to a government, and the government is limited by basic rules of the Constitution and citizens' rights. So these were the features of democracy. Now, students, remember the 4 questions that I told you all about in my first video that were raised from the simple definition. So now that we have discussed all the features of democracy, we'll be able to answer it. So let us have a look at it. The first question was that who are the rulers? So the first feature is the answer of the first question, that rulers are the people who are elected by the citizens, and they must have the final decision-making power. And this you can relate with the example of Pakistan. This we studied with the example of Pakistan. Next question. What kind of elections constitute a democratic election? So democratic elections refers to those elections that offer a choice and fair opportunity to the people to change their current rulers. This feature, so this is the second question, and the answer of the second question is the second feature that we studied with the help of an example of China and Mexico. That what kind of elections should be considered as democratic elections? Those elections in which people have fair choice to elect their ruler and also to change the current rulers. Third question was, who are the people who can elect the rulers? So third question, and the answer was third feature, that each adult citizen can elect the rulers irrespective of caste, class, color or sex. And this feature we studied with the help of an example of Saudi Arabia, Estonia and Fiji, that in these countries citizens did not have right to vote. All of them did not have right to vote. And the last question was, what kind of form of government is a democracy? So the fourth feature is the answer of this question. A democratic government is that form of government that rules according to the rule of law and citizens' rights. This feature we studied today with the help of the example of Zimbabwe. That's all for today's class. So students, now that we have discussed all the features of democracy, from the next class we'll start with another topic. These are few questions for your assignments. Please write the answers of these questions in your notebooks. Thank you, students.